Yeah, I'm right back at you like I never left, and I'm gonna go this hard to my last breath. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoom, Consul Moon. You already know what you're gonna get when you step in the room. You're now dealing with Kanoom. I'm here. While I'm here, I'm gonna make the information direct and clear. 'Cause a lot of y'all can't hear. Now, welcome back to Make My Ancestors Great Again. This is another episode of My Thoughts. This is My Thoughts 137. It's Thursday, and it's time for another episode of Ancestors Speak. Okay. Last week we did John Henry Clark. This week we're doing John G. Jackson. John G. Jackson, he was born in Aiken, South Carolina. He moved to Harlem when he was 15-year old in 1923. He died in 1993 at 86 years old. And he was one of the front runners of this movement because the Harlem Renaissance movement was around since the 1880s. People was all around New York in different parts, coming from the Virgin Islands, St. Croix, and things like that, and all the Carolinas, trying to find a better life. So Arthur Schomburg was down there. He was a Puerto Rican and an African, um, but he served his life towards African studies and also Puerto Rican studies as well. But um, a lot of people was at the Schomburg Institute, or it was a library at the time. And this is one of the brothers that came out of that massive Renaissance period. Um, Again, this is a great ancestor. May his soul continue to rest and his spirit continue to be lifted up to the ancestors. Let's hear from him. I'm gonna let him speak, and I'm gonna give my opinions and my thoughts on it, and tell you how he affected me. A lot of times you'll see I get a lot of bad habits from these guys, and at bad I mean good. Like when you see something, they say, "Man, that's badass," if you will, for lack of better term. So I'm saying bad as in good, but a lot of people say I get a lot of my bad habits from these characters that I'm going to present to you, and they all is inside of me on my daily walk, and my daily um, grind and hustle and hunger for material and information. Okay, so let's look at the video. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I thank you for watching. I don't own the video, but you can find it wherever you can find it in its entirety. John G. Jackson. It's a 2-hour lecture. You can watch it. So
leading up to. When I was a boy down in Aiken, South Carolina, at Sunday school, I was taught that God created the white man as the superior race. And after the flood, when Noah was celebrating the end of this great deluge, he got drunk and took off all of his clothes and doing the striptease. And one of his sons, named Ham, thought that this was really funny, and he started laughing. And God looked down from heaven and said, I will not tolerate this disrespect for parents. So he turned Ham black and shipped him off to Africa. And he doomed Ham and all of his descendants to be hewers of wood and drawers of water for their more fortunate brothers. In other words, Africa was of no importance in world history because it was settled by an accursed race. And I got this story in church. When I went to school, I got the same story. And then I would go to church and the preacher would get up and ask us to sing a hymn. Oh Lord, bleach us out whiter than snow that we may enter into the kingdom of heaven. And then I say to myself, I don't think I'm going to make it. Then they had another one. You can have all the world, but just give me Jesus. And I began to have the idea that there was something wrong with this. I couldn't imagine that everybody else had a history, but only the African people didn't have one.
okay, That was the ancestor, the great master teacher. Man, a lot of times when I watch those lectures and stuff, I get lost for words because they were willing to risk their life to fight for people like me in the future that we're in today. Because they did that, of course, way before I was born. So um, that lecture I might have been born when that lecture was given at that time period. That his work was done far before I was born. Even my mother wasn't born. My father wasn't born at the time when these gentlemen were willing to risk their life for equality. Because at that time in the 20s, 30s, and the 40s, it was very segregated. Now, it wasn't no pity type of party, but the African had his thing together because the African understood that globally, wherever you came from, you was of African descent and you was African of ancestry. So it wasn't no problems with that. Even the church knew. First AME, uh, first AME. The AME means African Methodist Episcopal. See, I never knew this until I started studying. So even the churches understood that we were African people from somewhere, wherever we came from, Chicago, Carolina, Texas, the Virgin Island, wherever you came from, you were African in descent and ancestry. Your very nature is foreign to the land that we're in today. Everyone knew that. So to see these brothers tell these stories, it's quite touching to me. So I wanted to share them with you. You guys have very well might have seen them already. That's okay. This is called the Ancestors Speak, and we're going to do it on Thursday. So I'm going to bring you the characters that's fundamentally touched the way that I study and touched the way that I deliver information and my revolutionary spirit. I'm going to bring you those characters that structured me and what you see before you today. So he told a story and said when he was in Aiken, South Carolina, they told him a story in the schoolhouse that after the flood, I'm sorry, he said that the white man, Bible said that the white man, they taught this right out of the Bible and they created a curriculum around it. The white man was the progenitor. He was the top superior race and he created everybody. Okay. Now, after the flood, Noah was drunk. He had a drunk party. He got drunk. It say it right in the Bible. As soon as he was done, he drunk wine. He planted wine and drunk wine. So he got drunk. Now, one of his sons, because he had three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You know it. It's a biblical story. Ham got drunk and started dancing and had laughing. I'm sorry, while Noah was dancing and naked, he laughed at his father. So this is called the curse of Ham, and you can look it up. It's not in the Bibles today, but it was in the Torah, the Talmud, the Tanakh, and uh, rabbinic um, scrolls and rabbinic literature for the rabbis and things like that. This is Jewish understanding, okay? But it ties all in because the Jewish people are supposed to be first, then you get Christianity, then you get Islam, okay? Now, Ham seen his father and was laughing. God cursed him, sent him to Africa, said he's going to be a drawer of wood and a drawer of water, a hewer of wood and a drawer of water, which means a slave. So he made his sons, grandsons, slaves, which was Canaan. So all of Africa was cursed. This is how the story goes now. He said they taught him this as a child using the Bible and curriculum that they put together in their schoolhouse. Okay. Then he went to church, got the same story from church. Okay. Then he told another story how the pastor would get up there and sing a hymn. See, a hymn is like a folklore. I'm sorry, it's like a Negro spiritual. Okay. You scream out to the Lord and this, that, and the third. So they had a hymn that said, wash me out in the blood of Jesus so I can be whiter than snow. And at that point, he said, I don't think I'm going to make it. As light as he is, yet and still, he knew that he was an African. See, it doesn't matter about your melanin. You can be look like me or this brother look real, He could have passed for a white man, went to some place and passed for European. He didn't want that. The song said, "You can wash me out whiter than snow so I can get into heaven." He said, "I don't think I'm going to make it." So he had this radical type of revolutionary stance to make as a child in church because he left South Carolina in 1923. He was born in 1907, died in 93. Okay. So when he telling these stories, that was before he turned 15 years old when he was in Aiken. So at that young age, he said, "Nah, I'm not going to make it to heaven." Then they had another song. "You can have all the world. You can have everything. Just give me Jesus." This is how the story goes now. So he knew right away that our people was trapped and structured into something unknowingly to us, but it was way bigger than us. Okay. It was very one-sided. Uh, we was at a deficit when it came to teaching, knowledge, literature, and historical value as a people at that time. So he went to, Harlem in 1923 when he was 15 years old, and he began his radical stance. And they always call you radical when you go against what's sitting out there. When you go against the forefront or the when you go against the establishment, they deem you radical. You're supposed to just lay there and accept it. Don't never try to fight for equality. Don't do nothing like that. So this gentleman was far from that, as you can see. And that's how I am. If you're going to tell me that this Jesus the Christ and God, because I mean, the story didn't change. This gentleman was born in 1907. He grew up in the 20s, 30s, and things like that, 40s, 50s, 60s, all to the 90s, died in 93. Today, you have Africans who think they Hebrews are Jews and they black Hebrew Israelites and things of that nature, and Muslims. You have Africans who believe that they go back to Arabic time and they Arabic people. You have the black Hebrew Israelite who believe he's Israeli or Hebraic Jew or something. Again, you took a paintbrush, you painted all the characters, Jesus and everybody else black, and you believe that that's the origin of the story. This gentleman is far older than anybody pushing or peddling black Hebrew Israelitism. He's older than Louis Farrakhan down there with the Nation of Islam. Any of these people, he predate them. And the stories was white as snow. So today when you say, "No, that was black. They was always black." Why didn't this gentleman get that understanding? See? Because the stories was always white. It was established white and it was pushed as white. Simple as that. That's my thoughts on the video. I'm going to show a couple of his works. I got this is Ethiopia and the Origins of Civilization. These books are very old. I had them maybe since like 2015. Okay. Pagan Origins of the Christ Myth. Now, these are John G. Jackson books, what we just seen. John G. Jackson, the ancestor, and John G. Jackson. He have several books, so you guys can go get them. These are like pamphlets, came out in 1939 and 1941. So these books are old even in itself. Mines are newer. Like I said, I think I got them in 2015, 2017, somewhere up in there. But that's my thoughts on the video. I want to thank John G. Jackson. May the ancestor continue to rest. And may his spirit continue to be lifted to the ancestors. And that was Ancestor Speak. Thank you for watching. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoom, Consul Moon. You already know what you're going to get when you step in the room. You're now done with Kanoom. This is what I do, and I love to do it. And before I take back what I said, I add some more to it. This is to show you the ancestors didn't come from nowhere and take a stance for nothing. They took a stance for something, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Okay? Everyone knows that. These brothers put their life on the line, got outside of any religion, and said, if we're not going to have something for ourselves as an African people, I don't care what religion you bring to the table, but for now, we're going to put that outside of the fight. You could be an atheist, a Muslim, a Christian, and we don't want to hear that right now. We're fighting for the equality of African people. And today, Until they recognize us, what we did for history and the world, we're going to fight this fight, even if it means to our own detriment, death. And they fought dying, some of them dying with no money at all. But they fought this fight to liberate your mind, to liberate your body. Because if you liberate your mind, your body will move in a different type of understanding. You would know who you are, and you wouldn't be out there trying to do anything other than better African people and get yourself from one situation to the next and continue to help people do the same thing. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and I thank you for watching. And remember, education and preparation is the first step to retaliation. So before you pick up a weapon, pick up some knowledge. Yeah, yeah.